The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. This is Mark Landholm with Premier Life and Annuities. I want to welcome everyone here to our webinar on Legacy Optimizer. Today we have Chris Korf available. He is the Sales Development Specialist with North American Life Insurance. Today we're going to talk about, as our notifications talked about, was a new opportunity, a new product that is being released for today's market where wealth transfers are concerned. There was lots of money out there from baby boomers just sitting unused, and we now have a new opportunity. So, Chris, welcome aboard this morning. How are you?
I am doing well, Mark. Thanks.
And we might as well get started. This is a new release of a product North American has had in the past, but I think there's some great new twists. So I'll let you get started.
Thank you, Mark. And yes, to kind of speak on that, I remember, years ago when North American had this product, I was actually working at an MGA's office, and funnily enough, that was a whole life product that ran through the annuity department. Now this is actually an IUL that we get to keep here and have as our own on the life side. So we're very excited about that. We're very excited to be able to bring this new product to you. It's been over, I think, around 10 years since North American has last developed a brand new product. So obviously here internally, there's a lot of excitement. And, as we've been rolling this product out to the field, we've been feeling that excitement back towards us as well. So this session today is going to last roughly 20 to 30 minutes. Just a few housekeeping items. This is on the GoToWebinar platform. Mark will be monitoring any questions. You can either use the chat function, the question function, or raise your hand for questions. And I know it is being recorded, so Mark will have that for you as well. So with that, we will get going here. As you mentioned, my name is Chris Korf. I'm the Sales Development Specialist here at North American that works with Premier Life and Annuities. You can think of me as an internal wholesaler. Whatever title you kind of want to give me is completely up to you. So here's our disclosure page. This does pertain to the entire presentation, and compliance likes when I kind of linger on this page a bit. So first I want to go over the company here at North American. With this new product, we are bringing on some new individuals that maybe aren't familiar with North American, maybe they heard the name but really don't know a lot about us. So of course it's important to know that you're going to be offering a product from a strong and stable company. And you can see we're A+ rated with AM Best, S&P, and we recently got a Fitch rating. We're A+ with them as well. Now, we don't do a lot of advertising at North American, but we are the 5th largest writer of individual life insurance in the independent channel as part of the Salmons Financial Group. So, of course, that does include our sister company, Midland, and some other carriers as well. So we are a very large company, write a lot of life insurance. 10th largest writer of individual life insurance overall as part of Salmons Financial Group. So, if you're presenting our product to your client and they say they never heard of them, or you set me up with some rinky-dink outfit. No, we have the ratings, we have the size, we're a large company. So just know that you can feel confident when you are out there pitching our product. And the last bullet point, of course, makes me happy. We are privately owned. All employees are owners, so we have an ESOP. And what that means to you is a couple things. A, we look long-term. How's the company going to do long-term? We're not, caving into stock prices and making sure at our quarterly meetings we're able to show stockholders, hey, we made a profit this quarter. And then also each employee thinks as an owner. So I'm doing what's right by the company, not because the more our employee stock prices go up, the better my retirement is. I'm not just punching a clock and getting a 401k. These are all things that I like to bring out here before we get going here. If you're new to North American, not sure who we are, that's really at the core of who we are. So now let's get into the product, right? This is what you guys are here for. So who do you know that's 50 to 80 years old? They have sufficient retirement resources and emergency funds, and they have 25 to 200,000 of discretionary funds in low interest-bearing accounts. And what they have that money there for is they want to pass on a legacy to their beneficiaries. So U.S. baby boomers, as Mark had mentioned, who are going to be your best clients for this particular product, may transfer as much as $30 trillion in assets. I'm going to say that again, $30 trillion in assets. So, that's going to be going to their Gen X and millennial children, who in turn could be your potential future clients. So if you're able to give the parents a good solution, goes to their children, the opportunity is there then for them to become your clients as well. So that's the opportunity we have out there. So let's look at 3 concerns your clients may typically have. So these baby boomers that have that 30 trillion in assets, what are some of their concerns for that discretionary money we talked about? Well, emergency funds, and everyone has a different idea of what an emergency is, but they have that money set aside for an emergency. It could be something as basic as a new transmission for the RV. Hey, they're retired, they're seeing the great country we have in their RV and they blow a transmission. Well, they have that money for emergency should they need it, or such things as traumatic as a terminal or chronic illness. These could be considered emergencies. Long-term care coverage. Longtermcare.gov has done a study, and what they found is once a client reaches age 65, there's a 70% chance that they will need some form of LT services at some point during the rest of their lives. Be that is, they broke a hip and need 6 months to rehab, or, unfortunately they get Alzheimer's and are now, in a facility for the rest of their lives. But the research that they've shown is once you hit age 65, there's a 70% chance you're going to need something. So that's a major concern of your clients that they have. And lastly, they want, we know this one's 100% going to happen. Their death is going to occur, and they want an efficient way to transfer that money to their beneficiaries. So these are some of the main concerns that your clients are going to have with that discretionary money. Hey, these are concerns why we have it. So is there a solution? Well, yes. That's a huge opportunity, and we have that solution. Efficiently helping and transferring assets with a tax favorable death benefit while maintaining access and growing cash value for emergencies, supplemental retirement funds, or healthcare services. So, what we're talking about there is, like supplementing long-term care. This product is not designed to be a long-term care solution. Some of you out there that are familiar with these single asset transfer products may be familiar with some of those that are more weighted towards the long-term care benefits. This one is more weighted towards the legacy transfer benefits. It has the opportunity to use a death benefit for those type of chronic conditions, but that's not the number one selling point. So once again, just knowing what your clients are looking for, if long-term care coverage is their number one with a bullet concern, this product probably isn't for them. If giving their beneficiaries and their heirs the most bang for their buck, the most death benefit, and have some cash value opportunities and have the opportunity to access those benefits for a chronic, then this is the product you're going to want to go with. So let's take a look at a hypothetical pie chart for your potential client. So here's their money, and they have their retirement funds. So be it if they had it in a pension or they had it in a 401k, they moved to an annuity or whatever they have. This is their now money. This is the money they're pulling out now to pay their monthly bills, to put gas in that RV, to pay for the souvenirs they're buying for the grandkids. This is their now money. Okay. Then they have their pie that's their later money. This is their discretionary funds. And of their later money, they have this pie that we've looked at as never money. Okay. This is the money they say we're never going to use it. We're wanting to pass this on to our beneficiaries, our heirs. This is our legacy assets. That's what we've determined this piece of pie is. So this is kind of their just in case. This is their never. This is their now. So our agenda is going to talk first about the client's objectives with their assets. Then we'll talk about our simple solution with the Legacy Optimizer, and we're going to wrap it up with a simple application process. The client's objectives are simple. They hope that they will have some money at the end of their lives that they can leave to their family, but they do not want to give up access because they might need it in case of emergency, chronic or terminal illness, or another need. So let's look at some challenges that they may have with those legacy assets. We looked at their pie chart. Where are those legacy assets? Currently. Well, more than likely, they're in some type of fund that's in a low interest rate or low yielding account. They'll need to also consider the impact of taxes and inflation. They're typically looking for risk aversion, limiting exposure to loss while retaining access to funds while they need it. And by having that risk aversion, the vehicle you're going to be in this current time is a low interest rate type of vehicle. Hey, I want to be risk adverse. I want that money to be there, so we're going to have it in something safe, but trading that safety off is giving us a low interest rate. So let's think of the client's legacy assets as water filling up a legacy asset bucket. And you can see the water going into this bucket is between 0.5% and 2% interest, right? They're not getting a whole lot for that. Well, then we have some taxes spilling out, depending on how much money they have, 20 to 30% tax rate is spilling out of the bucket, making it less efficient to fill it up, right? Well, and then we see there's a hole in our bucket. What's our hole? Well, that's inflation. We got some leaks going on here. Long-term inflation rate is over 3%. It's 3.22. So when you kind of look at their bucket here, they have a low rate of flow going in. They got 20 to 30% of it spilling out in the form of taxes, and then another 3% that's draining out with a hole. So that's probably not the most efficient way to fill up the bucket. I think we can all agree. So let's apply some of the numbers to our bucket analogy. Here we have $100,000 in assets that are in a conservative vehicle, but ultimately, they're going to be intended for heirs. So because their focus is on safety, like we talked about before, we're going to assume a 1% interest rate. So after 1 year, the $100,000 is now $101,000. So we're going to assume a future combined federal and state tax rate of about 25%. So $250,000 of that, or $250 of that $1,000 has to get paid out in taxes. So that's still a growth to $100,750. But if we figure inflation into that, so we only made 1%, we paid some taxes, that actual $100,000 after inflation and taxes turned into $97,505 of real purchasing power. So in an effort to be conservative and preserve, an estate for their heirs, your clients have actually found a strategy that may end up with less value each year after taxes and inflation. And how many times do we see this? The clients want to be safe, they're doing it right, but we forget about inflation, we forget about the real purchasing power. And I think you really need to consider that. If you forward this off 10 years, that $100,000 is actually only worth about $77,679 in actual purchasing power. So they've had it in a safe vehicle, they want it to be there. It is still there. They didn't quote unquote lose any principal, but with inflation they lost purchasing power, which is about the same thing. So now we've talked about our objectives. Let's see our simple solution. So the solution involves a single premium asset transfer into a life insurance product. The life insurance product provides several advantages for the policy owner or their beneficiaries. First is death benefit. The single premium is immediately leveraged into a larger death benefit for the beneficiaries. Next is cash value. We want the potential for the policy to grow in value as well. And finally, the client will want to retain access to funds. We'll do that through a variety of liquidity features. So let's take a look at these in some more detail. So we'll start with the death benefit. As said before, we leverage that immediately into a larger guaranteed death benefit for their heirs. They took that $100,000, we're able to leverage it day one. It will be passed to the beneficiaries efficiently, income tax free and outside of probate. And room to grow. There's a potential for an even larger death benefit above and beyond the guarantees. So with the non-guaranteed cash value growth, because this is an IUL, the death benefit may grow well beyond the guaranteed coverage amounts. So let's talk about that cash value growth potential. So we're using an indexed universal life policy, which has the opportunity for cash value growth based upon the movement of an underlying index. So the index is the S&P 500, We have a choice of allocations between either the S&P 500 annual point-to-point or the S&P 500 with a spread. Index Universal Life has the advantage of upside growth potential while protecting against downside movement with the 0% floor. To help grow the cash value even more, we've added a premium bonus. So it's a 10% premium bonus paid over 5 years starting in year 5. So that's 2% per year in years 5 through 9, and that's on the principal. So if we had $100,000, it'd be $2,000 a year from years 5 to 9 for a total of $10,000 of a premium bonus paid in. So of course, an important part of this is the access to funds in case of emergencies. Well, cash values can be accessed in several ways, with withdrawals or standard policy loans. So withdrawals can be made in year 2 and beyond, and are surrender charge and penalty free for up to 10% of the account value per year. Now, if you stick with us for 5 years, you know, the benefits become even better. That's when you know, we have a return of premium feature, and that's also, as mentioned in the slide before, that's when our our bonus kicks in. So if you stick with us for 5 years, you're going to have the return of premium, and that's when your premium bonus is going to start. So also a prime consideration for many is access to the benefits in case of terminal or chronic condition. You know, we can do potentially better than just accessing cash value for these needs, as the client can accelerate death benefit for them. Now, this can provide an alternative or a supplement to an existing long-term care policy. As I mentioned before, you know, this is not long-term care insurance, but rather an acceleration of the benefits. And once again, you know, the purchasing, the way this product is designed is more for the passing on those legacy, you know, the larger death benefit to the beneficiaries, with the option to use some of that for, you know, chronic type conditions, not like another product that focuses mainly on that. So just wanted to get that out there again. A couple other things I want to point out here. This return of premium feature, ours begins in year 5. If you are familiar with this type of product, you might be thinking to yourself, well, Chris, some companies out there offer this, you know, year 1, year 2. Why year 5? Couple things, obviously, you know, if you make it later, we can make the product more competitive. The other thing is really all a return of premium does in year 1 helps out not you, not your client, but the agent that's going to roll that business you just wrote, right? You write your client up, they come by and say, oh, hey, you can roll this, I have something bigger, better, or whatever, and there's no protection for you, the agent, to, you know, you're just going to end up with a chargeback. And, you know, it's not good for the client to keep having that money roll all the time. So that's why we decided to have the return of premium feature in year 5. And hey, if they want to leave, they can get the full premium, but that's the same year that their bonus starts kicking in, so they're probably going to want to stay. Really, how we design this product is to be sticky, and that's what we all want. We want those policies to stay on the books. Not only do we want that for you as well, so you don't have to deal with chargebacks and things of that nature. So just a little background on that. So let's take a look at a hypothetical example here. So as we showed in that pie before, we had the retirement funds and the discretionary funds. So here we got $475,000 total, and it's a 70-year-old female. Out of that discretionary funds, we've figured out the never is $100,000. Okay, so that's the piece of the pie that we'd shown before. That's never. So we're going to take a look at how that would look. So here we have a 7-year-old female, $100,000 payment, and we're figuring 25% combined state and federal taxes. So how's it going to grow? Well, if after 10 years we just looked at the guarantees, a 1% taxable vehicle, let's say this is a bank CD, 2% tax deferred, let's say a non-qual annuity, but the guarantees are just going to be what she'd put in after 10 years. With a legacy optimizer, this is the death benefit that's purchased day 1. So this is the guaranteed amount after 10 years. You can see in the legacy optimizer, it's a 5.1% return, right? Well, what about the potential death benefit after 10 years? So if we assume it does make the 1%, we got 107,000 here on the bank CD, got about 100, just under 122 on the annuity. Legacy optimizer, once again, because it is an indexed IUL, we're able to show some growth here. 165 grew to the 100,000 with cash value, push that death benefit up to 175,000 and change. So 5.7.8 return. So you can see, even if we assume the guarantees or the current, how much more efficient the legacy optimizers are passing that money off than the other vehicles it could be in. What about chronic illness? Once again, I'm going to show just the guarantees. So if we figure a 4-year chronic illness in year 7 through 10, so she'll be 77. On the guaranteed side, once again, there was no growth, so they're just taking out 25 a year for 5 years. With the legacy optimizer, we have a guaranteed basis, and this one's 31,480. Because when you purchase that death benefit, we say, okay, well, we're going to have a piece of that pie, a piece of that death benefit that's guaranteed, and also have a guaranteed payout. So those two things that are built into the legacy optimizer, this is the worst case scenario for your client should they need to use that for chronic illness. Now you might be doing the math and saying, hey, that's not quite adding up. We have a $10,000 residual death benefit that needs to be there as well. So if we look at the non-guarantees like we did before, you can see a little more on those other 2 vehicles, and this increases from 31 to almost 34. And we're still assuming the guaranteed payout for the age 77. So, this payout could actually be greater. So once again, we're showing the cash value growth before that they were concerned about, the ability to access that, being able to transfer the money to their beneficiaries more efficiently, and here those chronic type illness concerns, we're able to just kind of look at that and say, hey, we're able to take care of that too with this particular product. So what did we do here? Once again, here's her pie. She had the 300,000 and the 175 of discretionary, which we had looked and said, okay, 100,000 is legacy. So her estate was worth about 475 just by moving this 100,000. We didn't have her add anymore. She just simply moved this from whatever it was in to the legacy optimizer. We've added $65,000 of value to her estate. It's now worth $540,000. Like I said, we did that without her asking her to do anything other than move money to a vehicle that's going to accomplish what she wants better than what it was in. So what's a simple solution without a simple process? We've made that easy for both you, the agent, and the client. So the first thing is to identify your prospects. You'll be looking for clients that are ages 50 to 80 with 25,000 to 200,000 legacy assets that would likely be table 4 or better. So 25,000 is the minimum, 200,000 is the max, ages 60 to 80. For ages 50 to 59, it's 150,000. So that's the max we'll take in on a single pay. And these clients would like to, retain the access to their funds for an emergency. They want to leverage and have accessibility for chronic illness. They want to limit the impact on taxes. They want to maximize the value to their beneficiaries. The actual application process is simple. It's a short application, which can be completed online. We also do have a paper app, but you can do this online. There's a quick call to the underwriter, typically 20 minutes or less. I've been seeing it's been about 12 to 15 minutes, and we use ESP for that. And then a quick decision. And after that 20-minute phone call, we're going to be able to say, yep, you apply, or you're going to be able to get it medically, you clear. Then you can collect the money and send it in. It will go through just a quick in-house underwriting just to check for suitability. And really, that's about it. It's just that simple. So today we talked about the simple objectives, leaving a legacy for your heirs while retaining access and control. We talked about the simple solution, which is the legacy optimizer, and we showed how quick and easy the process is, submission to commission in days. There's a couple other pieces I want to show you just to show how easy and this is, and just the resources we have available to you. So here you can get sales advice on your mobile device, and you can see this web page that's on here. And I'm going to take you to that web page right now. So this is our Legacy Optimizer microsite. It's just www.nalegacy.com. Once again, that's www.nalegacy.com. So what was showing on that slide was our quote engine. So you can pull this up on your phone, and you can open up your quote engine. And let's say you're, at the gym, or if you're part of a club or church or what have you, and you get to talking to some individuals, that, and let's say you're talking to this guy, he's 65, and you find out he's got $100,000 of discretionary income sitting in a bank CD that he wants to transfer over to his beneficiaries. He's currently paying about 25% in taxes, and his bank CD is making him, 2% a year. All I do is put in the info, and it says, well, day one, you can take this male age 65, 100,000, turn it into 168,000 of death benefit. Tells you what his guarantee payout is for chronic illness. If he has to use these benefits from 65 to 79, that's what he would be guaranteed as a payout. 80 and over, that's what it would be. Cost of doing nothing. If he just kept making 2% at a 25% tax bracket for 20 years, that 100,000 would be 134,686. We give him 168 in death benefit right now. So this is a great. This would be a great thing to have on your phone, those quick conversations. But also on this website, we have some good agent resources. And some of those you can look at. Here's like the application process guide. So this shows you, okay, what do I need to do to take this application? And it just goes through, okay, well, here's our steps, discuss suitability, pre-qualification questions, impairments, all those sorts of things. So here's the phone number to ESP, tells you the hours, so you know what you got to do there. Don't forget an illustration. This is an IUL. You're going to need either an illustration, or if you're doing the EAP, sign the statement about life insurance illustration form. Okay. Goes through some other information. Main things here are your suitability questions. So it's going to ask you about suitability. It's going to show you what our suitability requirements are. Once again, goes over the premium limits, things of that nature. The pre-qualification questions. If it's, yes, your client will not be eligible. It's really no shades of gray here, since it's simplified underwriting. Has your height weight charts, and then has the impairments here. So if I look at endocrine disease, diabetes diagnosed before age 40. Hey, guess what? That's me. I'll never be able to purchase the Legacy Optimizer. So it is what it is. But this gives you the list. So this is a great resource here. It also has, sales process guides, consumer brochures, all that's on here. Definitely recommend checking out this website. Once again, that's www.nalegacy.com. And one last thing, I want to go to the our software. So here I have one pulled up, our 70-year-old female, Minnesota, and we just select that we want an index universal life policy. Click find available products, and there's our Legacy Optimizer. We simply click select, it pulls up. We will then put in the $100,000 lump sum. Help if my fat thumb didn't hit the 2. And talks about the illustrator rate. I do want to show you one thing here, because I do believe this is important. And you just click view illustration. And while that's pulling up, like I said, there are paper apps available for this. I think doing it just because of the simplicity of it all. Here it tells you it is going to be a mech. We know that. Doing it online is definitely a slick way to go. So here pulls up the illustration. Once again, there's our 165 that we had shown before. What I wanted to point out here, though, is so we talked about the 2 different indexing options that this particular product had. The S&P annual point-to-point, which is currently at 6.5%, and the spread, which is currently at 5.75%. If you take a look at historically how these would have done the last 20 years, you can see that the S&P annual point-to-point's at 4.4%. With the spread, we're at 7.9. You had those years where, like in 08 when it tanked, but then it rebounded very nicely. So you can see the returns we got here in 09 and in 13. So I just wanted to point that out as well. There is potential, even though we're illustrating 4.3, to make some very good returns in this particular product. I just wanted to show those 2 things to you. And with that, I would like to open it up for any questions that came through.
All right, thanks, Chris. We do have a couple. One is it available in New York? I probably should have started that out, but it's not available in New York. It's being available in almost all the other states. You're going to need to check with your life marketer as those states get released and available. Chris, that's kind of what I understand. It's most of the states right now.
Yeah, just the only one that, obviously North American and New York is like oil and water. We have no products there. Can't write New York clients, anything like that. So New York, totally off the table. And then California is the only other state it's not currently available in. If any of you are familiar with the state of California, they like to take their time to, I don't know what they like to do, but we're hoping early next year to be available in California.
And that's usually the case with a lot of new products. So that you should look for that, and we'll be up to date on that. The other question was, what's the maximum age? Some of the illustration software, if you got a real close look, it looks like age 80 is the max age, right, Chris?
Mm-hmm. That's correct. Yep.
And with simplified issue, to relate that to the fully underwritten, looks like about a table 4 or above health would be a relate to a fully underwritten product, correct?
Yep. So we're taking table 4 and giving them standard.
All right. Well, with that, that's the last of the questions. We do have this available as a replay on our YouTube web page, and by linking it on Premier's web page. If you have any questions at all, or would like to get marketing materials, illustrations ran, those kind of things, and go over any questions, please contact your Premier Life marketer and marketing team here at Premier. Our phone number is 800-365-8208, and just ask for a life insurance marketer. We'll be glad to answer any questions, get you the materials and the applications. This product is available, and go out and start selling. Go out and see those clients, those baby boomers that might have some money to put into this product. So with that, thank you, Chris. And we're going to look forward to hearing you again. We got another webinar scheduled in a couple of weeks, and look for those announcements coming up in the near future. Again, thanks, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.